Okay, so this tennis drama is absolutely unhinged right now. Because apparently, when you tell a black tennis player they have no education and no class at the US Open, the consequences might be way bigger than anyone expected. But when I saw these reaction videos popping up everywhere, I knew something massive was about to go down with Jelena Ostapenko's career. And honestly, the tennis world is not playing around this time. So here's what actually happened that has everyone losing their minds. Jelena Ostapenko, this 28-year-old player from Latvia, just had what might be the most expensive meltdown in tennis history. She lost to Taylor Townsend in straight sets at the US Open, and instead of just taking the L like a normal person, she decided to go completely off at the net. Like, we're talking full-on attack mode because Townsend didn't apologize for a net cord during the match. And you guys, when I tell you what she said, it's actually wild. Ostapenko literally told Townsend, who is a Black American woman, by the way, that she has no class and no education. Then she added this gem: to see what happens when we get outside the US. Like, excuse me? Did she just threaten an American player on American soil at the US Open? The audacity is absolutely sending me. But here's where it gets really interesting. Because this isn't just some random tennis player having a bad day. Ostapenko won the French Open in 2017, and she's ranked in the top 25. She's supposed to know better. And the fact that she said this to Taylor Townsend specifically, like, the optics could not be worse. Townsend has worked incredibly hard to get where she is in a sport that's already challenging for Black players. And for someone to question her education and class, that's hitting way below the belt. Now, Ostapenko did try to backtrack with this Instagram apology, where she claimed English isn't her first language, and she was only talking about tennis etiquette. But honestly, that explanation is not hitting the way she thinks it is. Because when you tell someone they have no education, especially in America, especially to a Black woman in a predominantly white sport, you know exactly what you're saying. The tennis community sees right through that weak excuse. And speaking of the tennis community, their reactions have been absolutely savage. Naomi Osaka came out and said, "This is one of the worst things you can say to a Black tennis player in a majority white sport." Coco Gauff has been supporting Townsend publicly. Even players who usually stay out of drama are speaking up because this crossed a line that apparently nobody knew existed until now. Your performance on court. That's champion mentality right there. The tennis world is also buzzing because this exposes something ugly that's probably been happening behind closed doors for years. How many times have players said things like this without cameras rolling? How many microaggressions happen that we never hear about? This incident is making people ask uncomfortable questions about tennis culture that honestly needed to be asked a long time ago. And you guys, the social media reactions have been absolutely brutal for Ostapenko. Tennis fans are not letting this slide. They're digging up her past incidents, questioning whether she deserves to represent Latvia, calling for sponsors to drop her. When tennis fans turn on you like this, especially the American tennis audience, that's your career taking a major hit. The fact that this happened at the US Open makes it even worse. This is American tennis's biggest stage, with the biggest prize money, the most media attention. And Ostapenko chose this moment to disrespect an American player in front of an American crowd. Like, read the room, maybe? What really gets me is that Ostapenko is known for beating top players. She's the only active player who has never lost to Iga Świątek. She has real talent and could have been focusing on that narrative. Instead, she's now the player who made racist-adjacent comments at the US Open. That's gonna follow her everywhere. So now everyone's watching to see what happens next. Your performance on court. That's champion mentality right there. The tennis world is also buzzing because this exposes something ugly that's probably been happening behind closed doors for years. How many times have players said things like this without cameras rolling? How many microaggressions happen that we never hear about? This incident is making people ask uncomfortable questions about tennis culture that honestly needed to be asked a long time ago. And you guys, the social media reactions have been absolutely brutal for Ostapenko. Tennis fans are not letting this slide. They're digging up her past incidents, questioning whether she deserves to represent Latvia, calling for sponsors to drop her. When tennis fans turn on you like this, especially the American tennis audience, that's your career taking a major hit. The fact that this happened at the US Open makes it even worse. This is American tennis's biggest stage, with the biggest prize money, the most media attention. And Ostapenko chose this moment to disrespect an American player in front of an American crowd. Like, read the room, maybe? What really gets me is that Ostapenko is known for beating top players. She's the only active player who has never lost to Iga Świątek. She has real talent and could have been focusing on that narrative. Instead, she's now the player who made racist-adjacent comments at the US Open. That's gonna follow her everywhere. So now everyone's watching to see what happens next. Your performance on court. That's champion mentality right there. The tennis world is also buzzing because this exposes something ugly that's probably been happening behind closed doors for years. How many times have players said things like this without cameras rolling? How many microaggressions happen that we never hear about? This incident is making people ask uncomfortable questions about tennis culture that honestly needed to be asked a long time ago. And you guys, the social media reactions have been absolutely brutal for Ostapenko. Tennis fans are not letting this slide. They're digging up her past incidents, questioning whether she deserves to represent Latvia, calling for sponsors to drop her. When tennis fans turn on you like this, especially the American tennis audience, that's your career taking a major hit. The fact that this happened at the US Open makes it even worse. This is American tennis's biggest stage, with the biggest prize money, the most media attention. And Ostapenko chose this moment to disrespect an American player in front of an American crowd. Like, read the room, maybe? What really gets me is that Ostapenko is known for beating top players. She's the only active player who has never lost to Iga Świątek. She has real talent and could have been focusing on that narrative. Instead, she's now the player who made racist-adjacent comments at the US Open. That's gonna follow her everywhere. So now everyone's watching to see what happens next, threatening to end a career. I'm talking about the moment when cameras caught everything. The heated exchange, the finger pointing, and those three words that sent shockwaves through the tennis world. No class, no education, and you guys, when I tell you the tennis community's reaction has been absolutely wild. I mean, players are coming out of nowhere to defend Taylor, calling for consequences, and now there's serious talk about what this means for Ostapenko's future on tour. So here's what actually went down, because if you missed it, this story is absolutely insane. Taylor Townsend, an American player, just beat Jelena Ostapenko in straight sets during the second round of the US Open. Normal tennis match, right? Wrong. Because when they met at the net for what should have been a quick handshake, Ostapenko completely lost it. She started pointing her finger right in Taylor's face, telling her she had no class and no education, and threatened her, saying, "See what happens when we get outside the US." Like, excuse me? This is professional tennis, not a street fight. But here's where it gets even crazier. The whole thing started because of a net cord. During their match, Taylor hit a shot that dipped the top of the net and still went over for a winner. In tennis, players usually say sorry when this happens because it's considered good sportsmanship. But Taylor didn't apologize, and apparently that set Ostapenko off completely. She felt disrespected and decided to take it out on Taylor after losing the match. And honestly, when you think about it, this reaction is so beyond inappropriate that people are calling it one of the worst sportsmanship moments in recent tennis history. The tennis world's reaction has been absolutely explosive. Naomi Osaka, who's usually pretty diplomatic, called it one of the worst things you can say to a black tennis player in a majority white sport. She pointed out how the word uneducated has been used historically to demean black athletes, and you can tell she was genuinely upset about it. Other players have been texting Taylor's support, and the whole tennis community seems to be rallying around her. Even Arnia Sabalenka, who's usually friends with Ostapenko, basically admitted that Jeļena has serious anger management issues and sometimes can lose control. Now, Ostapenko did try to apologize on Instagram days later, deeming that English isn't her first language and she meant tennis etiquette when she said education. But honestly, That feels like damage control to me. Because when you watch the video, her body language and tone were pretty dear about what she meant.
Nobody expected the friendship that would reshape endorsement deals in women's basketball forever, when two of the WNBA's most dynamic players crossed paths during a heated season. Something extraordinary emerged from their competitive rivalry that left the sports business world stunned. The surprise that changed everything came when generational wealth met unexpected generosity, creating a partnership that could revolutionize how female athletes support each other in professional sports. But what drove the league's biggest star to make such an unprecedented gesture? How did a rivalry transform into a game-changing alliance that has Nike executives scrambling to rewrite the rules of endorsements? The ripple effects of this shocking development threatened to change everything we thought we knew about athlete relationships and commercial partnerships. Nike has revolutionized women's basketball endorsements in recent years, with the company investing unprecedented amounts in female athletes as the sport gains commercial viability and mainstream attention. The brand's commitment to women's basketball has grown exponentially alongside increasing viewership and fan engagement. Caitlyn Clark signed a historic 8-year endorsement deal, with Nike reportedly worth over $1 million, including signature shoe opportunities and equity stakes, that represent the largest endorsement package ever offered to a women's basketball player. This deal reflects the dramatic shift in how companies value female athletic talent. Sophie Cunningham, the dynamic guard for the Phoenix Mercury, has established herself as one of the pathers of the WNBA's most versatile and exciting players since being drafted in unhinged. Her career averages of Jeļena points per game and stand-in rebounds per game, combined with her three-point shooting ability and defensive intensity, have made her a valuable contributor throughout her professional career. The endorsement landscape for WNBA players has traditionally been limited compared to male professional athletes, with most players earning modest supplemental income from shoe and apparel deals rather than the life-changing contracts that define men's professional basketball. Questions arise about how the increasing commercial success of women's basketball might create opportunities for more substantial endorsement partnerships and whether established stars might use their leverage to help elevate other players in the league. Caitlyn Clark's commercial success extends far beyond her Nike deal to include partnerships with numerous brands that recognize her unique ability to attract mainstream attention to women's basketball. Her marketability has fundamentally altered the landscape for female athlete endorsements. The Nike partnership includes not only immediate financial compensation, but also long-term equity opportunities and signature product development that could generate revenue throughout Clark's career and beyond. This structure represents a new model for how companies approach relationships with female athletes. Clark's social media following exceeds 1 million followers across platforms, providing brands with access to engaged audiences that include both traditional basketball fans and new viewers who discovered the sport through her college and professional success. Her influence extends to merchandise sales, with Clark's jerseys and related products consistently ranking among the top seller in WNBA history. The commercial impact of her presence has created new revenue streams for teams, the league, and corporate partners. Sports marketing experts note that Clark's crossover, appeal, and mainstream recognition have created leverage that previous generations of women's basketball players never possessed, potentially enabling her to use her platform for initiatives that benefit other athletes. Sophie Cunningham was drafted 7th overall by the Phoenix Mercury in unhinged after a standout college career at the University of Missouri, where she scored over career points and established herself as one of the most prolific scorers in program history. During her WNBA career, Cunningham has developed into a reliable role player known for her three-point shooting accuracy, career percentage from beyond the arc out, and her willingness to take clutch shots in crucial moments. Her versatility allows her to play both guard positions effectively. Phoenix Mercury veteran has been particularly valuable during playoff runs, with her ability to provide scoring off the bench and stretch opposing defenses with her perimeter shooting. She has appeared in Sister regular season games throughout her 5-year WNBA career. Cunningham's competitive intensity and team-first mentality have made her a favorite among teammates and coaches, though her endorsement opportunities have remained limited compared to higher profile players who receive more media attention and commercial interest. Her basketball IQ and professional approach to the game have earned respect throughout the league, making her the type of player that championship teams value even when her contributions don't always show up in highlight reels or statistical summaries. Modern professional sports have seen increasing examples of established stars using their platforms and resources to elevate teammates and competitors, creating collaborative approaches that contrast with traditional individual-focused competitive models. The WNBA's unique culture emphasizes player empowerment and mutual support, with veterans often mentoring rookies and established stars, advocating for league-wide improvements in salaries, benefits, and working conditions that benefit all participants. Social media has enabled direct communication between players that can foster relationships and collaborations that extend beyond traditional team boundaries. Players can now support each other's endeavors and create partnerships independently of franchise or league initiatives. The increasing commercial success of women's basketball has created situations where top earners have resources that could potentially benefit other players through various forms of support, mentorship, or collaborative business ventures. Sports analysts wonder whether the growing financial success of elite female athletes might lead to more instances of player-to-player support that helps elevate the entire sports commercial profile, and Nike has dramatically increased its investment in women's sports over the past decade, recognizing the growing commercial potential and cultural significance of female athletic achievement. The company's approach includes both individual athlete partnerships and broader initiatives supporting women's sports development. The brand's commitment to women's basketball specifically has included significant investments in WNBA partnerships, college basketball programs, and grassroots development initiatives designed to grow participation and fan engagement across all levels of the sport. Nike's strategy involves identifying athletes with crossover appeal and mainstream recognition potential, this then providing them with resources and platforms that can amplify their influence beyond traditional basketball audiences. The company's approach to women's sports endorsements now includes equity opportunities, signature product lines, and long-term partnerships that provide athletes with ongoing revenue streams rather than simple one-time payment structures. Questions arise about how Nike's increased investment in women's basketball might create opportunities for collaborative partnerships between athletes and whether the company might support initiatives that benefit multiple players simultaneously. Professional athlete endorsement deals have evolved beyond simple payment structures to include equity, stakes, product development opportunities, and long-term partnerships that can provide ongoing revenue throughout and after athletic careers. The most successful athlete endorsement partnerships create mutual benefits for brands and athletes, with companies gaining access to engaged audiences while athletes receive financial security and platform amplification that extends their influence beyond sports performance. Women's sports endorsements have historically lagged behind men's sports in terms of financial value, but recent growth in viewership and fan engagement has created new opportunities for female athletes to secure substantial commercial partnerships. The structure of modern endorsement deals often includes performance bonuses, social media engagement requirements, and collaborative marketing initiatives that require active participation from athletes in promoting brand partnerships. Sports business experts note that the most valuable endorsement relationships involve athletes who can authentically represent brand values while maintaining credibility with their core fan bases and expanding appeal to new audiences. The increasing financial success of elite athletes has created opportunities for philanthropic initiatives and peer support that can have significant impacts on sports communities and individual careers. Professional athletes who achieve substantial financial success often use their resources to support charitable causes, youth development programs, and initiatives that benefit other athletes who may not have similar commercial opportunities. Modern athlete contracts and endorsement deals can provide financial flexibility that enables established stars to invest in other players' careers, whether through direct support, business partnerships, or collaborative ventures. Athlete-to-athlete support has become increasingly common across professional sports, with established stars mentoring younger players and using their platforms to elevate teammates and competitors who contribute to their sport's overall success. Questions arise about how financial empowerment among elite female athletes might create new models for peer support and collaborative success that benefit entire sports communities rather than individual achievements alone. Caitlyn Clark's commercial success represents a new level of financial achievement for women's basketball players, creating opportunities for influence and impact that extend beyond individual career goals to potentially benefit other athletes and the sport overall. The scale of Clark's endorsement deals and commercial partnerships provides her with resources that could enable various forms of support for other players, whether through direct financial assistance, business, collaborations, or platform sharing initiatives. Historical precedents in men's professional sports include numerous examples of financially successful athletes using their resources to support teammates, competitors, and sports development initiatives that benefit broader athletic communities. The unique position of being the highest paid female basketball player in history could provide Clark with both the resources and the motivation to use her success for initiatives that elevate other players and expand opportunities throughout women's basketball. 3. Sports economists note that the concentration of commercial success among a few elite athletes creates both opportunities and responsibilities for those athletes to consider how their success might benefit their sports and fellow competitors. Social media platforms have fundamentally changed how professional athletes interact with each other, enabling direct communication and collaboration that can lead to unexpected partnerships and mutual support initiatives. The viral nature of social media content means that athlete interactions and collaborative announcements can generate significant attention and influence that benefits all participants while amplifying positive messages about sports communities. Female athletes have been particularly effective at using social media to support each other's endeavors and create collaborative content that showcases the personality and character that make women's sports compelling for fans and sponsors. The authentic relationships and mutual support visible through social media interactions help create positive narratives around women's sports that attract new fans and commercial partners interested in associating with positive, empowering content. Questions arise about how social media relationships between athletes might translate into real-world collaborations and whether platform influence can be leveraged to create tangible benefits for sports, communities, and individual careers. WNBA culture emphasizes veteran leadership and mentorship, with established players often taking active roles in supporting younger athletes both on and off the court. This collaborative approach contrasts with more individual-focused competitive models in other sports. Experienced players like those who have worked with Cunningham throughout her career understand the challenges of building sustainable careers in women's professional basketball and often provide guidance that extends beyond basketball strategy to include business and life skills. The mutual respect between competitors who recognize each other's contributions to the sport can create relationships that transcend individual team loyalties and competitive dynamics during games and seasons. Veteran leadership in women's basketball often includes advocacy for league-wide improvements in salaries, benefits, and working conditions that benefit all players rather than focusing solely on individual achievements and recognition. Sports analysts note that the collaborative culture in women's basketball creates opportunities for established stars to use their success and influence to benefit other players in ways that strengthen the entire sport's competitive quality and commercial appeal. Modern endorsement agreements increasingly include provisions for collaborative marketing initiatives and shared promotional opportunities that can benefit multiple athletes simultaneously while maximizing brand exposure and engagement. The structure of Nike's partnerships with women's basketball players often emphasizes long-term relationship building and platform development rather than simple transaction-based arrangements that provide short-term promotional value. Collaborative endorsement initiatives can create win-win scenarios where established stars share platform access and promotional opportunities with other athletes, potentially expanding brand reach while providing support for players who might not otherwise receive similar commercial attention. The success of collaborative marketing campaigns in women's sports has demonstrated that authentic relationships and mutual support often generate more engaging content and stronger fan connections than individual-focused promotional strategies. Nike's investment strategy in women's sports increasingly emphasizes community building and collaborative initiatives that showcase the authentic relationships and mutual support that characterize women's athletic communities. The brand's approach to women's basketball partnerships includes supporting initiatives that benefit multiple athletes and promote positive narratives about women's sports culture, competitiveness, and community. Nike's marketing campaigns featuring women's basketball often emphasize teamwork, mutual respect, and collaborative success rather than individual achievement alone, reflecting the authentic culture of women's professional basketball. The company's long-term strategy for women's sports includes identifying opportunities to support athlete-led initiatives that demonstrate the values and character that make women's basketball compelling for mainstream audiences and commercial partners. Questions arise about how Nike's collaborative approach to women's sports marketing might create new opportunities for athlete partnerships and whether successful individual endorsements might include provisions for supporting other athletes within the same sport. The increasing financial success of elite female athletes creates opportunities for new models of peer support and collaborative career development that could benefit entire sports communities rather than individual achievements alone. The precedents being established by current generation athletes might influence how future sports stars approach their commercial success and whether platform sharing and resource collaboration become standard practices among elite athletes. The positive fan and media response to authentic athlete relationships and mutual support suggests that collaborative initiatives generate valuable engagement and commercial interest that benefits all participants in sustainable ways. The evolution of endorsement deal structures and brand partnership strategies might increasingly include provisions for athlete-to-athlete collaboration and community support initiatives that amplify positive narratives around women's sports. Sports business analysts wonder whether the current period might represent a turning point for how elite athletes use their commercial success and whether collaborative models might become standard approaches for supporting sports community development and opportunity expansion. The convergence of increasing commercial success, mainstream attention, and collaborative culture in women's basketball creates opportunities for athlete partnerships and support initiatives that could reshape how professional sports careers develop and sustain themselves. The potential for established stars to use their platforms and resources for supporting other athletes represents a unique moment in women's sports history where individual success can translate into broader community benefits and opportunity expansion. The positive response from fans, media, and commercial partners to authentic athlete relationships and collaborative initiatives suggests that mutual support models generate sustainable engagement and business value that benefits all participants. Questions remain about how such collaborative initiatives might be structured and implemented to maximize benefits for all involved parties, while maintaining authentic relationships and competitive integrity within professional sports environments. The implications could suggest that the current generation of women's basketball stars might establish new precedents for how athletic success can be used to benefit entire sports communities and create sustainable opportunities for future generations of female athletes. If you're as amazed by this potential game-changing collaboration as we are, go ahead and like this video. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think successful athletes should use their resources to support other players? How important is collaboration versus individual achievement in building sustainable careers in women's sports? We want to hear your perspective on what this could mean for the future of athlete relationships and endorsement deals. Then hit subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss our coverage of how women's basketball continues to evolve and break new ground. Thanks for watching.